Hello everyone. This particular recording is about XAT 2016, a little bit of analysis of the previous year papers, that is 16, 15, 14 and 13. I'll go a little back and forth because I do have to explain the formats in which the previous year XATs have been conducted and give you a paper strategy as far as XAT 2017 is concerned. First things first, XAT last year was a 170-minute high intensity aptitude paper followed by a 35 minutes essay plus GK part 2 of the paper. First of all, out of the 78 questions that were asked in last year's XAT, which was probably the last 5 years least number of questions asked. If I want to go back at the previous 4 editions, it was 78 questions, 83 questions, 84 questions and 91 questions. So broadly XAT has tried to maintain the total number of questions between 75 and 85. If I look at the sectional breakup of these 78 questions, it was 28 questions of verbal, 29 questions of Quant Di and data sufficiency, that is data interpretation and data sufficiency put together, and the third section was the remaining questions. If I take one section at a time, there is a reasonable predictable breakup which can be observed over the last 4-5 years. First things first, verbal ability and RC section put together. It was 26 questions last year, but if I look at the last 3-4 editions, it's been nearly similar, with 50% of the weightage going to reading comprehensions and the remaining 50% of the questions going to vocabulary plus grammar plus verbal ability, that is verbal reasoning based questions. If I pick up the RCs, last year there were 14 questions of RCs. I delve into the difficulty level of the same RCs. There were 4 RCs, 2 of them reasonably manageable with around 150 to 225 words in it, followed by reasonably manageable set of questions. The other 2, one of them can be called a tough RC, one of them can be called a moderate RC. If I look at those kids who are targeting XLRI with a sectional of approximately a 96 to 97 percentile in verbal, there will be those kids who will be targeting the remaining questions apart from RCs, wherein they will leave aside a question or 2, because those questions, the 12 questions which are there, has a good breakup of 3 to 4 questions of vocabulary, 2 to 3 questions of parajumbles, 2 to 3 questions of critical reasoning. So there is a good amount of variety, and variety undoubtedly everybody likes in a paper. So if you look at those 12 questions, kids tend to be more aggressive about this, and as far as RCs are concerned, out of the 4 RCs, they try to attack 3 RCs, leave aside 1 RC, because yes, obviously it leads to a time crunch. If I look at last year, 170 minutes was sufficient to actually look through every question and decide to leave questions, rather than time falling short and kids leaving some questions. If you look at all the other exams, say probably a SNAP or an IFT or NMAT or other exams, what happens is that it's 1 minute per question. So kids tend to rush through a paper, leave aside some questions because time was left. Whereas XAT is concerned, they had reasonably sufficient time where they could decide after looking at a question to leave a particular question. So yes, as far as verbal is concerned, 14 questions of RC, 12 questions of verbal ability. I see a near similar breakup as far as XAT 17 is concerned. So yes, as far as hitting that 97, 98 percentile mark is concerned, and 11, 12 marks in this particular section should be good enough. Moving to the second section, that is quantitative aptitude and data interpretation and sufficiency both put together. DI and DS together were 9 questions and Quant were the remaining 20 questions. As far as Quant is concerned, and that to last particular year, there were very less number of questions asked from algebra. There was a good weightage given to all the other parts, so reasonable representation from arithmetic, from number system, geometry, PNC, probability. So all these questions were asked in probably representative numbers. Algebra found a much lesser representative with just 1 question coming from that particular subsection. As far as Quant, DI and DS, the 3 sections put together is concerned, last year was reasonably easy in comparison to the last 3 editions, and a good score can be something in the range of a 13 to 14 marks in this particular section. The third section is decision making and reasoning put together. When I say reasoning, I mean logical reasoning, which had around 8 questions last year. There, as far as decision making is concerned, there is a very good distinction between ethical reasoning based questions and organizational reasoning. So, when I say decision making, I mean there are ethics based questions, HR based questions, strategy based questions, and sometimes marketing case studies, operational case studies. All of these things have been asked in the last 2-3 years. Those people with good work experience or the ones who have a good organizational understanding are those kids who are able to crack this section well. This particular section might not have a hard coded preparation plan. Verbal and quant are in line with all the other exams. So while I tell you the jargons, we both are in sync, but as far as decision making is concerned, not as much. So it talks about your maturity, your reading skills, and your application as far as the test taking or decision making is concerned. All in all, the 3 sections put together, a score of a 34-35 marks should get you a 97 to 98 percentile as far as that is concerned. The part 2 of the paper has GK and essay writing. The 25 questions of GK and 1 essay topic put together were given 35 minutes. That makes the whole XAT 170 plus 35 equal to 205 minutes. Last year's essay topic was a lovely topic, and as always XAT has managed to touch that introspection arm of the corporates. Nature and technology are natural enemies. This was their topic, that is nature and technology are natural enemies. Lovely topic. I am sure that a lot of organizations who directly or indirectly hurt the environment in some manner are introspecting on this particular topic. As far as GK is concerned, those 25 questions were more or less a walkthrough for those kids who continuously read the newspaper, the ones who keep themselves updated for close to a year, reading the right newspapers from time to time, are those people who will have a good go at this particular section. All in all, 170 plus 35. Now, the other things to take care as far as that is concerned, cutoff is not really high. So a 29 to 30 marks might end up giving you a call for XLRI. 32, 33 is what puts you into that decision making zone, or 36 is something has a very strong shot at XLRI. The other XAT affiliated institutes are XIM Bhubaneswar, SPGen, IMT Ghaziabad, GIM, LIBA, IFMR and Wellinkar. I am sure that you will research about these colleges, find out their cutoffs, see if you fit into that particular category or not. And as far as that strategy is concerned, whatever that we discussed today holds true. Try to have an aggressive outlook for all the 3 sections. Try to balance off around a score of 10 each for each of the sections. And if a particular section seems a little bit difficult, avoid venturing into that section because the cutoff will be manageable. So jump into the other 2 sections. One particular instruction which was more or less discussed by all the XAT takers last year was the 0.05 negative marking for all the questions which you leave unattempted after the 13 questions. I think this is a very trivial rule for which you need to get worried about. Very frankly, even if you leave all the questions and come back, it's not going to be more than a negative of 6 marks. So don't worry about this particular aspect. Focus on the paper, stay more aggressive, manage the 3 sections. I think that is all matters. Best of luck as far as XAT 2017 is concerned. You can expect a very similar pattern to what was in the last 3 to 4 years, with the range of questions being 75 to 85 with a distribution similar to what I told you right now. Prepare hard. It's just after the new year. Let your new year start in a good manner. Best wishes for XAT 2017. All the best.